As part of the Campus to Commonwealth programme that we're running at Glasgow 2026, we've hosted 6 students from the University of Stirling, and it's been fantastic to have them on board across the various different areas. This is a chance to be involved in the Games and say we're all in as part of that.
As Scotland University for Sporting Excellence, we recognise the importance of excellence in everything we do, whether that's in academia or in industry. So as part of our studies at the University of Stirling, we encourage our students to gain practical application.
I'm doing my placement at the Commonwealth Games offices in Glasgow. Being surrounded by the full working of the event has been really interesting to see. I was getting to work face to face with the different competing teams and finding out about how the teams actually get to the Commonwealth Games.
It's such a good starting point to be working in such a professional environment. Just see where that could take you in the future. It's definitely built my confidence.
What I'm most excited to see come to life is those sponsors, which I was behind the scenes seeing the commercial team at the very early stages of those negotiations.
Some at my placement, I would say it's been a once-in-a-lifetime placement opportunity, which has been really exciting, and I've genuinely loved every second of it.
I would just say it's an invaluable insight into the world of sporting events and the opportunities that this industry can give you.
The job market now is so competitive. Any kind of advantage you can get by getting some practical work experience is only going to benefit you and help your CV stand out. My name is Alex.
Emily, Jessica,
Kirsten. We study sport at the University of Stirling, and our placement will help us in our future careers.